the show coming up this weekend up in Trego. Journey to Hardwood is the name of it. It is the ATV, UTV, and Music Fest. 3 days worth of music, and you guys have the third day. And guys, I mean the Gear Daddies, performing 7 o'clock Sunday night, September 3rd, up in Trego, the Hardwood Resort and Conference Center. To be perfectly honest, I've never been up there before. Have you been up there before?
I have not, no.
Okay.
I had not heard of it until we got the contract. So, yeah, this will be fun.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to be talking to one of the guys from Hairball literally later on, I'd say this morning, but it's at noon, so technically it's not this morning. But not that not that long from now. So, yeah, it sounds like a good lineup. Have you seen, I mean, obviously Marshall Tucker Band, Hairball, national touring acts. Have you seen either of those before?
I have not. No, I have not seen either one. So it looks like a great lineup, though. I'm aware of how big those other bands are. So we're in great company.
Now, how you've got some tour dates coming up throughout, or tour dates, or really I should say concerts coming up throughout the month of September. How frequently, I know it's not a regular thing, but what's the comfortable rate of you guys coming together to perform, and kind of how would you describe how you determine a good venue, a good occasion to perform?
Well, that's hard. I mean, I don't really have anything to do with the booking except to say yes when our booking person sends a contract through. I don't think we've ever really objected to something that our booking agent has a good feel for that sort of thing. But it's usually we sorry, this is not very soundbitey. You're gonna have to edit it. But it's usually a combination of just kind of location, and if they are able to afford us, and also as part of the location, like, is it sort of within striking distance? Like we played in recent, in the past decade, I guess you'd say, we've probably played Chicago once or twice, but then that kind of became far to go for what we could get there. So we don't play it that much anymore. We've sort of, right now we're sort of staying sort of within nearer boundaries of like Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, the Dakotas. If it's something around there, and it looks like a venue that would hold the right number of people, and it is in a place where you could get, the right number of people, and they can match what our sort of going rate is, then that would be good. I don't think we have any hard, fast rules, but it's kind of that combination of things.
Given that you're a band now that primarily, essentially performs as opposed to having regular new releases all the time, and I mean, you guys are obviously active in your own right as artists, but how does, knowing that the core Gear Daddy songs, and most of the ones that people are going to know are going back to 1990, how do you see the audience evolving over time, having gone through the pandemic, and how that all changed live performance? And I love asking this about any artists I interview, and how their tours have changed and how the audiences have evolved. Well, from your perspective, how have you seen that? And not necessarily pandemic oriented, but maybe more towards the band itself, towards the Gear Daddies. Are you seeing an evolution in the crowd? Have you seen anything, or is it consistent? What's your take from being behind the drum kit and seeing it from the stage?
It's been pretty consistent over the last, again, I'd say probably decade. The biggest, and the pandemic, I mean, it definitely had an effect in that there was a gap for a while in shows. We just didn't play. But it seems like pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, once things picked up again, that's the audience has been pretty consistent. I mean, most of them are, growing older with us. They're the same vintage, like you say. They became attached to us in college, and that's the main group, that stays with us. But I guess the main evolution, I might say, is like, hey, some of them are bringing their kids, at this point. So we see a few younger faces there who are kids of our old fans.
I'm trying to remember. You've been to the grandstand of the Minnesota State Fair ever? I know you've been to the Liney Lodge. Have you been to that band shell? Have you been to the grandstand of the fair?
Yeah, we played the grandstand a couple times. The first time we played there, we got the opportunity because Lynyrd Skynyrd canceled, and so they called us, and it was like a Sunday night, and we're like, sure, let's do it. So yeah, that was a great opportunity, and then we got to do it again with the Bodines. Both of them are fantastic. The State Fair is, it's just a phenomenon. The State Fair, all the stages there I like playing. I just played the Shell stage last week with Doug Collins, and I drummed for him, and the grandstand is just a fabulous venue to play and to see bands. I've seen Stevie Nicks, I've seen Journey there. Like, they're, Hall & Oates, they're magical nights when the weather's good. I love playing there. I love seeing bands there, and it's really professionally well done. It's a great venue.
What day was that night was it last week that you were playing there?
Actually, I played with Doug Collins in the afternoon. We played two afternoons at the Shell stage on Thursday and Friday.
Okay, I might have been around the grounds about that time, because I went with my wife, and I went on Friday to the fair. We were walking by the band shell, but that was like late evening. It was like 8:30 when we were going by, and I didn't recognize the act at that point. I've noticed some of the acts. I remember one night I was walking by and Belinda Carlisle was performing. I'm like, wait, what? Belinda Carlisle's on stage here? Oh my gosh! Free.
Yeah. This is amazing.
Yeah, they get some really neat acts on. I don't want to call it side stage, but compared to the grandstand. What's the okay? And Minnesota State Fair is on my mind, like I said, because I just gone and I'm going back again. I always go twice. So I go with my wife, I go with my mom, because I've got different things to look at, and we always drive over from Eau Claire. So you, having performed at both places, you said they're both good. What is the vibe of the audience between one and the other? Obviously, one's more intimate, but more specifically as a musician, not that one's better or worse, but specifically, how do you notice the difference between those two stages, the grandstand stage and then over at the band shell?
Well, what you said is the main thing, intimacy. The Liney stage, and I should say I played with Doug Collins at the Shell stage, the new one in the new West End, which is also a great stage.
Yeah. That's right.
Liney,
yes.
But yeah, the Liney stage, it is more intimate. You can see the audience much better, from the stage, whereas the grandstand is so giant, and you've got, the stage is so tall, and there's like some distance. So there's a significant distance between you and the audience, even the folks who are sitting down on the ground floor where the chairs are there in the grandstand. So, that's the main thing. But when people cheer for you at the grandstand, like, that's a big crowd. That's a big roar that's cheering for you. And the Liney stage is no small potatoes either. When people when you finish a song and you get the feedback, they're both great. But that's probably the biggest difference, is just the volume of the feedback you get from the audience at the grandstand.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite thing about the fair?
My favorite thing about the fair, that's a tough one. I love it. I guess, it would have to be, the food, That's my favorite thing, is the fair. That's mostly what I do there, is the food. But I love the animals and the art, the art exhibits and the music there. I've seen some great shows there, so I guess food and music are probably my two favorite things there.
Did you try, at the risk of going too deep into this being Minnesota State Fair analysis when we're still talking about a concert on Sunday, what did you try any of the new ones this year? And if so, did it involve pickles?
No, it did not. I didn't try much of anything because I'm sorry to say, I've got like a cracked tooth.
Oh no.
And I need to get on some antibiotics or something. So I've got like all sorts of like pain and swelling in my face and stuff. So like I just played the gig with Doug and I didn't really try anything. And I went with my kids last night and I ate a corn dog and had a malt, and that was about it. So it was not a good food year for me this year just because of my dental emergency. So.
But yet you still got like two of the ultimate staples of the fair, so it's not the.
Oh yeah.
It could be far worse, so it's okay.
Oh yeah.
You still get the full experience there. For your show on Sunday, and by do you I mean the band? Does the band do like a certain set for the context, or is it all right? This is what the Gear Daddies play. You know what you're getting. This is it. How much does venue, concert, event affect what you're going to play in your set list?
Well, it does and it doesn't. In the sense, the doesn't sense is that we have, sort of just a limited pool of songs. There's the songs, like you say, that we, have been doing since 1987, 1993 when the second record came out, and we have some covers that we do. So we have a limited pool of songs to draw from. So that in that sense, you're going to get what you get because we only have so many things that we can do. But we don't have a set list. We never make a set list. Martin just calls the songs in the moment. So no set is ever exactly the same. And I think, I can't get inside of Martin's head, but I think he's good at reading a crowd. He's way better than me at reading a crowd, and I think that influences the songs that he's gonna call. So the venue, the crowd has some sort of influence on the set, but Martin is the sort of prime director on that kind of stuff.
Has there been a song that you've performed, and I'll say more of late, it could go back obviously decades, but think more of late, that has surprised you in terms of its response, that you weren't expecting as interested of a response, like, wow, where do they know this song? Or there was a request from the crowd or something that Martin suggested, well, we're going to do this one. Anything stood out in recent performances?
Let's see. I can't say that. I can't really say that. I'm not surprised by that. There is an old song that has surprised me at like how well we play it. Once we didn't play it for a long time. It's "Don't Forget Me" off the first record. We didn't play that for a long time, and then we recently started playing it some more, and it really surprised me how successfully we've been able to sort of resurrect it. But as far as songs that the crowd has surprised me with, we have such a limited number of songs. It's kind of surprising when someone calls for like 218, which is a song we did as like a B-side on a 45 back in like 1987. That's a little surprising, but there's those fans. I just assume a lot of the people who are at our shows a lot of them have been following us that long and know that catalog that well. So it's a little bit surprising, but it's not that surprising because our fans are so dedicated.
You talk about Martin having a certain sense of the crowd and the sense of place and what to play, and then you guys know how to dive right into to the tune. Um, Having worked as a unit off and on, but having so much of a history, how has the chemistry, the musical chemistry, evolved? Has there ever been a point where like it goes to like a certain year you went, wow, this went to another level, we're even more in simpatico, or vice versa, or whatever? How can you tangibly quantify musical chemistry as it's evolved in the Gear Daddies over time?
Well, I think one tangible way that I can think of is if you listen to a version of a live version of a song we do today versus a live version of a song we did back in the 80s, if someone bootlegged it or whatever, we're a much more solid band, and we make what I think of as kind of better choices about what we're going to play during the song. I certainly make better choices on the drums now that I'm in my 50s than I did when I was in my 20s. I was just like, so feeling my oats back then and just playing all over the place. But probably the most tangible difference that you would notice is we just don't drink that much anymore. And those performances back in the day were fueled by so much liquor. We used to just drink so much before we play. I couldn't even walk now, given what we used to drink before we even started playing. And now, I have a couple of shots, before we play, but, to loosen up a little bit. But I don't think any of us play like just 3 sheets to the wind anymore, and that alone is going to make it better. Well, better in a musicianship sense. I don't know whether it's more or less entertaining. But I'm sure those old shows were entertaining in their own way. So
How has your drum technique evolved over time? Like what specifically do you find yourself doing differently at the drum set compared to back in the days of recording and the early days of the band gigging around?
Well, I'm a lot more mindful of like the choices that I make when I do a fill or hit a crash cymbal. Like I try to. Back in the day, I didn't really have a concept of kind of staying out of the way of the other band and kind of playing with the band. I was just playing, And now I'm much more mindful. I listen a lot more to what the other members of the group are playing. And I'm a lot more mindful of like consistency, of like how I play the patterns on the drums so that Nick, the bass player, and I can match up more seamlessly. And I just don't bash things as hard, which again, like I do try to play hard for Gear Daddy shows, harder than I play like for the other bands I'm in. Because I try to, what I'm trying to do right now is give some of that feel, that little bit of rowdiness that the Gear Daddies had back in, people's college days. I want to give them some of that, but I'm not that drummer anymore, So I'm trying to toe a line where I can deliver some of that experience without like just falling off the rails like it used to do often enough. So I'm just a lot more mindful now,
Well,
what I'm doing.
Well, it's going to be a great show coming up on Sunday evening. I also saw that Martin's going to be here in Eau Claire at Pablo Center in October. Have you ever been in Pablo Center at the Confluence in downtown Eau Claire before?
No, Eau Claire. I have friends from Eau Claire. I know there was a pretty kick-ass music scene there in the 80s and till current, I'm sure. But I have never been to Eau Claire, which is it's a real shame. I want to get there and hang out. I've got friends who still play there at some of the bars, and obviously Martin's going to play there. So, maybe, I don't know. It's hard for me to do a road trip down there unless I'm playing a gig, but maybe, for the Martin show, we'll see. Maybe I could manage to get down there.
Might be worth it. I can tell you Pablo Center is a gorgeous venue. It opened 5 years ago, right at part part of the name is Pablo Center at the confluence. It's where the two rivers meet in the downtown, and it's a beautiful place. So if you can make it over, great. It's as a almost lifelong resident of Eau Claire, this place has gotten a lot more artistic, creative. There's a lot of dynamism going on over here. So yeah, if you can make it on over at some point, and I would love it if Gear Daddies can at some point perform maybe at Pablo Center or one of the other places around here. I think you guys would really, and well, Martin obviously already knows he's going to enjoy it, but I think you would as well.
Yeah, I'd love to come and hang out in Eau Claire.
Yeah, it's really nice over here. So best of luck coming up on Sunday. Thank you, Billy, for taking some time to chat with us today, and all the best. And one last thing before I let you go. On Thursday, we do here on Greatest Hits, we do the movie tune of the week, and it's usually like a pop song from the 60s, 70s, 80s that's in a movie. We're going to throw in Want to Drive a Zamboni, since it was in a movie, so that counts. And so we're going to play that.
That's right. It's technically, it was, I think, for like 6 seconds or something. I know it was in Malcolm in the Middle for like 6 seconds. So
it could even be a TV song. We could even do it for that too. So we'll give that a spin coming up on Thursday as well. Billy, thank you for taking time today, and all the best going forward, and enjoy the show up in Trego on Sunday evening.